Last week, we featured Andrew Hallam's journey to becoming a millionaire teacher in How I Made My First Million. And in part 2, Money Mind's Eleanor Kajaya finds out why Andrew chooses to remain a teacher and why he feels it's important to pass on his investment knowledge to his students.
For many people, having $1 million might mean early retirement. But for Andrew Hallam, being a school teacher has always been his dream job, and he doesn't plan to retire anytime soon.
You're already a millionaire at this point, so why do you still, be a teacher?
This is a great job. It's so much fun. I get to be surrounded by energetic colleagues, kids with great new young ideas, and the job is really fun. I think all money does is it gives you a choice. You can choose where you want to work because you don't necessarily have to chase that job that pays really, really highly. So if my wife and I decide that at some point we want to work and teach in Cambodia, and the pay may not necessarily be all that high in a Cambodian school, we actually have that choice. Or if we want to volunteer for a few years or just travel for a few years, we have that choice. But right now, we choose to be here because we really enjoy it. It's a great school. It's a fun place to work.
And according to Andrew, there are 9 rules of wealth you should really have learnt in school. The number 1 rule, spend like you want to grow rich, is one which Andrew says will be familiar to everyone in Singapore.
The first part would really be the essence of spending responsibly. Not trying to keep up with the Joneses and getting into that materialistic trap of, and in Singapore it really would be the materialistic trap of following the 5 C's. And so many people may sacrifice so many other things that are really important to actually do that. So that, hey, you don't have to make a tremendous amount of money to grow wealth. You don't have to be a workaholic who doesn't end up spending time doing things with his family and his kids, taking trips, looking after themselves in terms of their exercise. They can actually live a balanced life, and if they're pretty good with their money, and the book of course goes through some strategies on how to actually enhance your wealth over time, then hopefully they can have that full picture, that full sort of balanced lifestyle, and some sort of money at the end of the day. For apps to actually research these products.
Currently, Andrew teaches a financial course at the Singapore American School focusing on his 9 rules of wealth. Today, he's discussing unit trusts with his students.
And I read that.
This financial class for Andrew is more than just about getting the students to think about investing and managing wealth.
These kids would typically be that 3rd generation of wealth. And if I can actually show, teach, encourage these kids to hang on to their wealth, and if these kids can actually maintain or even grow their level of wealth, they could possibly use that wealth for great things rather than just getting into that materialistic trap where they're choosing to buy right out of college or a few years thereafter, I'm going to buy that Porsche 911 because it's a big status item. I'm hoping too that with what we actually teach here at the American School, that they can use that money, use that real education in terms of their global perspective, and actually make a difference with it rather than being that typical 3rd generation of wealth that ends up squandering their money on materialistic things.
So what is the feedback like from students and parents about the class?
I think it's been pretty good. It's fun because sometimes I get parents actually phone me, or they've read my book, or they have a student in my class, and sometimes they'll ask me about their own money, or they'll say, geez, I didn't know, or I didn't believe in what you were talking about. When I read your book, I was a bit skeptical. But then I went out and I did my own research, and I found that everything that you were actually saying was academically backed by other evidence. And so it's actually pretty exciting when parents and kids are excited about the course. So enrollment for the following year is actually doubled, which is pretty exciting for me.
Outside of the classroom, Andrew loves to run. But running for him is more than just about keeping healthy. For him, the principle of running is similar to the way he invests.
if you want to set a marathon, you have to set that as your goal, and then you have to try to set smaller goals along the way. It takes hard work, it takes discipline, and it takes a level of flexibility. So for running, sometimes, as is the case right now, I pulled a muscle, and there's a race that I want to do in about a week, and I may or may not actually be able to do that race. And one of the things, it's a bit like a financial setback, and that's okay. That person might not be able to reach early retirement at age 55 because of some financial upheaval that occurs along the way. That's okay too. But to set those goals, and then again to be realistic and know that life gets in the way sometimes, and you have to be able to just float with it rather than get really rash.
While the road to becoming a millionaire was paved with mistakes and lessons, his greatest challenge came later. A few months after he won the JP Morgan Corporate Challenge in 2009, Andrew was diagnosed with bone cancer. For Andrew, surviving cancer reaffirmed his philosophy about life and his investments.
You know, a couple of years back you had cancer. I mean, how did that change your investment perspective at all?
I don't think it changed the investment perspective, but it just confirmed what I had already really believed, and that was that balance is really the key. I think that anybody who is a workaholic is a little bit of a fool, because you never really know when your last day is going to be. So I think I always had that balance, and it's a nice thing actually being a teacher and doing the job that I actually love. So the entire time I was actually building wealth, I was doing a job I loved, and it was a job that gave me a lot of free time also to explore the world and spend time with friends and family. And I think that's really the most important thing. It's a sign of a successful person, the person who can spend time with the people they love.
And here's a chance for you to win a copy of Andrew Hallam's book, Millionaire Teacher. 5 books are up for grabs. Simply answer this question. What is Andrew Hallam's first rule of wealth? Leave us your answer on the Money Minds Facebook page or website message board, and we will contact you for collection details.
And that's our show for this week. If you have any questions or comments, you'll find us at channelnewsasia.com/moneymind. You'll also find us on Facebook. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.